It was the world turned upside down. And that's the way it just seems right now, especially with Israel being hauled before the International Criminal Court by no less a country as South Africa. Excuse me.
Yes.
I mean, if
If it
you
were
can't
not
make
so,
again, you can't
if it
make
were not
this up.
so outrageous, it would be quite humorous.
Quite, and that raises an issue as to what our position towards the ICC should have been. Personally,
What do you think should have been done?
I think we should have treated it with the contempt it deserved. I don't think we should go there trying to defend our humanity before a biased court. You look, when you walk into a court and the judge basically says, I think you're guilty, before you even open up your mouth, by agreeing to hear this case, they have already given a judgment. They could have summarily dismissed this case, but they didn't.
Keep in mind, of course, that the ICC is simply another organ of an arm of the United Nations.
The United Nations.
And let us ask ourselves, how many resolutions have been passed by the United Nations, shall we say, over the last 5-10 years against Israel, and how many against Soviet, what used to be the Soviet Union, Russia, or against Iran, or against North Korea, or
North Korea? Look, the International Criminal Court rendered a judgment against the Chinese with regard to their territorial claims in the South China Sea. What was the result? Nothing. The Chinese continued their island building and their enforcement operations of their territorial claims against any comers in the South China Sea.
Did it come to a vote in the Security
Yes,
Council?
It came to a ruling in favor of the Philippines. And the Chinese just waved it off.
They vetoed it, probably.
No. It didn't go on to the UN. The decision by the International Criminal Court was so decisive that it didn't have to go anywhere else. And the Chinese it didn't matter to them. The same judgment was rendered against the Russians with regard to their activities against Ukraine. You think that stopped them? No, not at all. Not for 1 second. So I was and am totally opposed to our having to go to Den Hague in the Netherlands and defend our humanity. I'm sorry. We don't have to defend our humanity. We defend our actions before Hashem. I'm sorry. That's the only court that we should be concerned with.
I of course agree with you, but there are those who would say that by not showing up at the ICC, we would simply be guaranteeing a verdict against Israel, a condemnation, and then almost certainly a decision by the UN ordering us to stop. The ICC itself can theoretically order us to stop fighting.
It's a moral judgment more than, it's a moral judgment more than anything else. But I guess in this case, I'm glad I wasn't the one who had to make the decision whether to go or not. I think there is coming a time, and maybe with a new government, we will address this issue of leaving the United Nations, this Knesset of hate, as I call it. And leaving.
Yes, I understand. Of course, that would be the reasonable and rational thing to do. We should have done that
a long time ago.
Long time ago. I was about to say many decades ago, but yes,
definitely. You'd be right.
This reminds me of a conversation, an ongoing conversation I've been having with a certain person that I know, who insists that we have to act in a certain way and we have to fight our wars in a certain manner according to the stipulations of international law regarding warfare, etc., etc., etc. And when I ask him why, he says because that way we can guarantee our status in the eyes of the world, and we won't be brought before the ICC. So I'm dying to ask this person now. I haven't spoken to him since this case was brought before that outrageous body, the ICC, to ask him how that's working out for him.